Hi, Slim Doggy Steve here. We are continuing our video series on the MyDogAteWhat presentation, and we are now going to get into the dog food labels and analyzing the ingredients that you're serving your dog. So we look at dog food labels and we see things like here in this picture, and you'll just notice that there's lots and lots and lots of ingredients, and that's fine, I guess, but oftentimes we look at those labels and we don't really know what the words mean, we don't know what the statistics mean, and we just kind of throw up our hands and buy food that is packaged nicely and has nice pictures, etc. Well, that's not quite right, and it's not really that hard. In fact, we have the expression that we say reading a dog food label is not rocket science. You don't need an advanced degree in physics to figure it out, and we're here to prove that, and we're going to help you with some easy tips to cut through all that stuff and figure out, hey, am I feeding my dog something that's of high quality and nutritional value to them, or am I throwing my money away? Let's start off with a look at how many ingredients are in the average dog food. So we run our analysis in our food database, which has, now it's over 2,300 foods and treats. And we have in that database, most of those foods and treats have ingredients. And we look at, for the foods, we look at how many ingredients does an average food have and what are the maximum values for those. So on the left side of the chart, you'll see the dry food. So on average, a dry food has about 44 ingredients. And the one food that had the most number of ingredients had a total of 91. Wow, that's a lot. On the canned side, it's significantly less. The average was 33 ingredients, and the largest number of ingredients for canned food was, quote, only 58. So, just so you know, there's a lot of stuff in most foods, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. There's a reason for these foods containing so many ingredients. What do you guys think? Like, what would you think? Well, how would you answer the question as to why foods have so many ingredients? It turns out that one of the reasons is because dog food is formulated to provide a full nutritional profile for your dog. And so unlike with humans, where we have a variety of selections, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, different food sources that we mix and match each day, where we, hopefully get a balanced diet, although that's debatable. With dogs, it's typically been, you buy them their food, you scoop it out of the bag, or you serve it out of the can, you put it in a dish, and you're done. And so the result of all that is that the foods are produced so that if the dog eats the food, they're theoretically getting a balanced meal. So the number of ingredients is astounding to me, but it's not necessarily a bad thing that there are so many. Nonetheless, with so many ingredients to look at, you really want to be able to spot the good ones and the bad ones so you can judge the quality of your dog's food. Some interesting background information. So most folks classify dogs as omnivores. They're actually descendants of the carnivore wolf. So what that means is that the carnivore wolf's diet way back when in the day was primarily meat. 85% meat, some say, with some vegetation and fruits, either low-hanging fruit that they were able to pick off the trees, or oftentimes that which was in their prey's stomach. And the diet, the ancestral diet, was very high in protein and fat, had little carbohydrates, if any, and clearly nothing artificial. Another piece of information to note is that dogs have shorter digestive tracts, so unlike human beings, they do not as easily process plant and grain proteins, and that's really important, and we'll get into that later on. So when we think about dog food at a very high level, we say let's keep it really, really simple. You want to look for foods that are minimally processed with no artificial chemicals. If you keep it at that level, you're way ahead of the game. And we use a reference to the paleo diet, although not literally appropriate for dogs. The point is that it's a very simple concept, which is you want to eat foods that are in their most natural state. And that's, I think, true as well for dogs. So let's take a quick snapshot of what a good dog food would look like. So it's got to be high in protein. Meat should be the first ingredient. You want to have real named protein sources like beef or chicken. If you see something that says animal or poultry or meat, you just don't know what that is, so I recommend avoiding it. You don't want byproducts. Byproducts are somewhat controversial. My point on byproducts are that if the manufacturer cannot define for you what those products are, then you don't want to serve them to your dog. You want high quality fats, similar to the protein. You want named fats or quality oils. We'll get into this in more detail in a future video. Same with carbohydrates. Carbohydrates is somewhat controversial. The bottom line is that they are going to be a part of commercial food because of their economics. So given that you're going to feed your dog some carbohydrates, you at least want higher quality carbs and ones that have lower glycemic indexes so that they don't mess with the dog's blood sugar. You want no artificial ingredients. You just don't want that. There's so many that can be possible in dog foods. So I totally recommend that you try to find ones that do not include these things. And little or no fillers. And really what we mean here is that, we look at things like corn, which is also controversial. And we're not against corn per se, but if you see corn, which we consider to be a filler, in the first few ingredients, you got to be wary because it means that the manufacturer is using corn as a source of calories, nutrition, and protein, and it's totally not optimal for your dog. So that's what a good dog food at a high level would look like. In our next session, we're going to dig in deeper into what we call the macronutrients, which is the protein, fat, and carbs. And then future videos from there, we'll talk a little bit more about different types of ingredients and what to look for and what to avoid.